All right, guys, like I said, we're going to move right along. We're in this is the powerhouse part. It really is the powerhouse part. You got the legal. Now we've got Kenyon Gleason. Kenyon is the president of the National Association of Sporting Good Wholesalers, NASGW, know him as, and an SAF board member, board of trustee members. Kenyon, the floor is yours. You've got time in front of you. You can use whichever mic you want and have at it, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Well, if I do this with a gigantic smile on my face, I'd like to apologize. I hope you kind of hang with me on that. I just got word that my son proposed to his girlfriend of 5 years on Pikes Peak, and she said yes. So, yeah.
Woohoo!
So I have 5 sons, and he's my second. They're all out, all out of the house now, but. Finally, I'm going to get a daughter, so super excited about that. His brothers are already asking for being uncle status, so we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of happy about the marriage, just will not worry about the babies yet. But anyway, thanks for having me. I would reiterate, I'll just say ditto to all the accolades, to all the wonderful people in the room and all those who've kind of been working on this a heck of a lot longer than I have. But I want to talk today about the sales of guns and a little bit about what the market looks like. So kind of the behind the scenes a little bit, not necessarily directly 2A related, I guess you might say, but also very 2A related. So before we get started, just a quick question for you. If you would be so kind, pull your phone out, vote for me. Who you think is the best gun salesman in the history of our country? If you just scan that QR code real quick, give me a vote on that. I want to check your pulse here real quick. Hopefully it'll work and the votes. Yeah, okay. Ooh, well, no, there's only one right answer. There's only one right answer. All right. I'm going to guess, no, Donald Trump, please. Donald hasn't sold any guns. When Donald gets in office, we stop selling guns. Yes, Barack Obama, thank you. And I asked that, so now the second question, because I knew you were going to answer that the right way. Do we want to enlist him to go back to Washington to help us sell more guns? Can we get the guy back? What do you think? I'd rather lose a limb. Agreed. Well, thank you for indulging me. I think it's kind of hysterical. Unfortunately, I've got some bad news to share with you today, so I wanted to start on a high note and laugh a little with you. Part of what we do at NASGW is collect data. We do that from 2 sources. One source is our distributor community. We have about 19 or 20 different distributors providing us with data on sales and inventory statistical information. And then we have a second project we call Scope CLX, which is our sort of consumer-related information, and that comes through retailers who provide information through Celerant, Orchid, and AIM point-of-sale platforms, and then in exchange, we provide some data back to those platforms, and they, in turn, give that back to those retailers. So we're gathering both retail data and distribution-level data, so really kind of covering that sales channel from top to bottom, from the manufacturer all the way out to retail. So here's where the bad news starts, and again, I'm sorry to be the bearer of that, but it's been a rough year. Big takeaways here for you as I sort of set the stage for a few graphs and charts here over the next couple of slides that are going to probably not be surprising to some of you in the room, but maybe a little surprising to others of you. In year over year, pretty significant drop in our market. And some of that's due to, we had the assassination attempt on President Trump. We had Kamala Harris running for office. You'll see in a subsequent slide here sort of those peaks that happened during 24. We haven't had any major thing like that this year until just in the last couple of weeks, as you've heard much about today. I'll be really interested to see in another week or two kind of what happened in terms of gun sales. I heard sort of anecdotally yesterday that maybe retail is marching back with sales in light of what happened with Charlie Kirk, but that remains to be seen. So it's been really slow. Retailers are very cautious right now with their open to buy. There's a lot of market uncertainty, and so it's just kind of been one of those years. Here's a look at NICS checks. I know these you can't really see all the fine print here on these slides, and that don't worry about that. It's really not necessarily important. What is more important, I think, is sort of that trend line. If you look at the graph on the left, those lines, the simple lines, the three different lines, that's really like a trend line, 10-year average, 2 years ago and last year. And so the big blue bars are sort of where we're at this year, and we're really following the trends in terms of NICS background checks. Although, if you look at the chart on the right, you'll see August is down again. We're approximately 5% off in August of 25 over what we were in 24 in NICS checks. So we're back roughly around that sort of pre-COVID line, which is somewhat disheartening given the fact that we talked about this addition of millions of new shooters that came online in COVID. So for us to sort of see that precipitous drop in the NICS checks is somewhat unnerving, and maybe opportunity is out there still that we're missing. A little bit more on NICS, again, down about 5% in August this year, and retail traffic considerably off. Again, I'll be really curious to see what happens with Charlie Kirk. We've had about only 4 months in the last 2 years where we've had actual year-over-year increases in the NICS checks. So we just continue this sort of slow drop off in what's happening in terms of what people are doing. So I'm going to get into the specifics of some categories here now. Firearms, roughly 15% overall. There are individual components within the firearms market that are down less and some that are down more. MSRs down significantly, and so that's all averaging out to being off quite a bit. So I said NICS is off about 5%. Firearms off about 15. Why? What's the disparity? Well, we got a lot of used guns in the market right now, like a lot of used guns, and the COVID surge that happened. The philosophy is that many people took those guns they bought in COVID and have now been starting to return them, and that's obviously something we want to keep an eye on as well. But as you can see by the trend line there on the right, pretty much everything is following along with market trends, but I did want to point out again those two little bumps, the one early in the year in February, that was kind of a carryover from the Israel-Hamas war, and then the second one is really in result of the assassination attempt and then the announcement of Kamala Harris getting into the president's race. Yeah. Yeah, that's potentially true, but most of those are still caught. They just get caught at a different time of year because states they all go in at one time. So, but potentially yes, that could be a part of that sort of missing piece there or whatever, if you want to call it that. So firearms down. Here's where it gets really bleak, and I apologize. That's not a good thing for me to say, right? But down about 42% in ammunition sales year over year. That's a big slide for those who make the bullets. So go buy some ammo. I know y'all got about 50,000 rounds stockpiled, but why not 60? Just saying. my wife, I made that argument to her the other day. That didn't go so good. But yeah, August was really the first month we've seen sort of a little bit of a sort of coming back on that ammo market as we get into the fall hunting season. I do expect that it's going to, come back. Will we end over 40% down year over year? I can't say that. I'm not really good at the AI prognostication yet, but potentially we could recover a little bit. Optics, same story as firearms, roughly about 18 and 19% down in the optics market this year. We're still following those sort of seasonal trends, just volumetrically, we're not there. We're selling fewer, but really at the same kind of trend line that we've experienced, historically. Scopes, reflex sights were the biggest piece of our component last year in the market, and they're off the most this year. So one of the things we're trying to do with all of this incredible data is to not focus on the bad, but try to find ways to show some good things in it. So we're working right now on some new cool things with all the data that we gather, and we've had it now, some of it for, we got trend lines dating back 5, 6, 7 years. We now think we've got enough data in our system where we can start to do a little bit more looking forward. We're doing some predictive modeling and some AI testing in our data. We put together over the summer, with the help of a market analyst intern, a shotgun AI tool, and it's going to take a look forward. And it's using market indicators, what's happening in other sectors of the economy to help us make determinations. And in theory, once it's come online fully and available more wide scale, we'll be able to help you make better judgments and determinations about what it is you're putting in your stores and what's available out there in the market. We're in the market. It used to be you could just sort of look back, but with the way that the sales environment has changed and how we've moved into sort of new technologies and new ways of buying and selling, we are trying to get out of the old school and forecast the future. One other kind of cool thing we're just implementing and we'll be announcing here in a couple weeks, so you get the early sneak peek on it for a wider audience, is a project we call Vault. NASGW has created a new entity, which is the umbrella group for Vault, and it's on vault.com as the website if you want to go check it out. But it's basically going to be an online product information Bible, a single source of information for all products in our industry. We hope that the manufacturers will jump on board here. What happens now is manufacturers may or may not take pictures of their products. If they take them, they send them to 400 or 500 email places, and then those emails and those product images get uploaded to, a few thousand places. And by the time that you have that go around the market 10 or 30 or 50 times, now all of a sudden you got pictures for things that aren't the right thing, and you got descriptions of things that aren't the same description as the neighbor has. And so we want to eradicate that, clean it all up. If a manufacturer enters the name, the category, the attributes, all the colors, all the pretty things, puts the pictures in, that's what it is. And that's what you're going to see. And that's the hope behind our Vault project. So, where can I find pictures and attributes for all the items in our industry? Well, it's on vault.com. I hope you will check it out. This is the idea. Currently, we do this scatterbrained thing on the left, and it just kind of goes everywhere and gets all discombobulated by the end. The one on the right, a much more efficient and streamlined model, and that's what we hope to bring with our Vault project. We actually, NASGW tried to do this about 15 years ago. Tech wasn't there with us at the time. We were at the doorstep. We had literally created the project, and then it just fell through because we couldn't keep it running. It was just a monumental task. Technologies allowed us to be able to do that. So this is one sort of quick page look, a sneak peek for you. That's basic product specs and some basic photos. We're trying to create, again, some standards in the industry for all of this stuff. that will be in that system. So if I can leave you with one message, and I sort of hinted at it already, but buy more guns. Buy more ammo. Thanks for having me.